Hi, Silvio. So to introduce Silvio, he is a contractor just like me. He's working in the US, and we are also both authors of the same book, Mastering RESTful Web Services with Java. And maybe a little bit surprising for some people would be that the chapter that Silvio is responsible for is a chapter about testing. The approach that Silvio took was to focus on how to use generative AI to create tests for your API. And actually, after yesterday's session I joined that Silvio was providing. We are both doing mentoring at the Mentoring Hub here at the JCON conference in Cologne, Germany. And basically, there is this trend of new AI-related jobs, AI engineers and others. And in this context, I understand that it's very important to get these skills of how to use AI to do things in a new way. So was that the reason for you to how you wrote the chapter? Or
Yes. Oh, first of all, thank you, Marianne, for having me with you guys. So yes, that's and again, thank you for the introduction. So yes, absolutely. The fact is, right, that over the last 2 or 3 years, we have seen a significant transformation on the profession, right, on the how we design and implement software, and it's another transformation. We had many of those over the years. The most recently we had this the whole mobile movement that changed how we design UIs and how we prepare APIs significantly. Before that, we had the cloud transformation, and the web before that. So it's not something uncommon to software engineering to be transformed in a way from time to time. And this AI is the whole AI technology, especially the generative AI technology, is impacting us again. Right? At this point, shouldn't be anything new to see. Okay, something else is coming. It is important. We have to adapt. We have to learn. And the way I see, and other people that I have had these conversations with also see, is that again we're having a new group of let's say different types of engineer popping up. Like we had the cloud engineer a few years ago. Now we have the AI engineer and the AI architect. The AI architect not so prevalent anymore, but I have seen already several posts asking for AI engineers, and that being the people that are capable of implementing an AI solution, right? Implementing in the sense that they can prepare an environment with deployments of LLMs, that are scalable. They can answer to requests from multiple users and whatnot, which is essentially similar to what we already do with distributed systems, right? So it's an evolution of that, set of problems with its own uniquenesses, like the amount of memory of each node that we need is much larger than what we used to. There is this whole thing about using the right types of graphic cards. It's something unique. We never had this kind of hardware requirements before, so things are new in that sense. So there is another layer of technology on top of what we used to do, but all the knowledge that we had before designing and implementing these distributed systems can really translate well to this AI engineering and AI architect positions. The the other set of things that we are talking about is um, the engineer with AI, right? This is not a term that I have seen often, but it's something that another very good professional that I truly respect created, and I think it's a very good one. So the engineer with AI is someone that does what we do today, right? Is someone that there are people that understand software, they write software, they are software engineers, but they incorporate AI on their workflow as seamlessly as possible. So that's actually was the intention behind the testing chapter on the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's we have a significant amount of resources all over about how to do the traditional testing,
Mm-hmm.
load testing and unit testing and whatever. All of those are very well documented out there. What is not yet well documented, and it should, is this new change, right? This new transformation of the testing aspect of writing software, especially the integration um, testing now that we can really make it very complex, very sophisticated, with minimal cost to us in terms of time and the, the the volume as well, right? To write, let's say just a year ago, to write maybe more, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, to write a very comprehensive set of tests for an API would take a long time. You had to actually design and implement every single corner by hand and whatnot. So that's expensive, right? That's expensive, takes a long time, uh, and most of even more significant, people don't like to write it, right? It's boring to write tests. Let's be honest about that. But if the machine writes to you and you have to think about ways your API will behave, think about how, not how, but what are the corner points, right? The edges that could make your API fragile and break. That's nice. Now you're actually thinking about situations. This is something that we as engineers we like to think about.
Yeah,
Think
that's
about
what the human has to do.
right, exactly.
So not you don't have to know the exact syntax of JUnit and Mockito and things like that. But
Correct.
what you have to do is you have to know are the use cases that you want
Yes.
to cover.
Yes, you have to, and then you can go even crazy about things like, what if I threw a 10 gigabit text file on my API?
Mm-hmm.
What? You wouldn't even think about those things. But now that you have time, you can really play around with a lot of stuff that is easily translated to code. You can. Like, okay, let's try something. Or what
So
if
you would probably need some boilerplate code to generate a big payload, and that would be a lot of work.
But exactly. And today is, hey, ChatGPT, give me a 10 gigabytes binary file, and boom, you have it, right? So the cost of creating the data, the test data, the cost of creating the actual code that will run to test your API is, I mean, much diminished, right? So it's and not zero because you were professional that is there doing the work, but it's a lot faster, right? And a lot cheaper. And you can go all the way and have a very comprehensive test. So that was the motivation. And that is the type of transformation on the profession that I see.
Probably one of the biggest challenges of using AI is to so that we retain some control, some traceability of because there's an inherent unpredictability and non-determinism in what AI does. And one of the most important takeaways I got from the chapter is that actually the prompts that you write for the model should become part of the code. Yes. So you should version them in your Git, and then you can see what was the real source of the test, and then if you need to make adjustments, you know what to change or where the problem could be if, for example, something is not covered properly. Or
correct, and that's a good point. So since we are now making the interaction with the AI part of the workflow, and that interaction is text today, right? Or technically voice as well, but that translates to text in the end, which is the prompt. Now the prompt also needs to be part of your Git repository. So you want to keep that information with you, because that's the only thing you can guarantee that is the actual source, right? The code that was generated from that prompt may change, probably will change from run to run. Even if it's just slightly, it will definitely change. So what you can do is to make sure that you save that, part of your Git, of course, and also that you inspect the code generated. In tests, you don't care too much. I mean, as long as the test is doing what's supposed to do, it's fine. But if you start using the code for actual production, then the level of attention to those details should really increase a lot. I didn't talk much about actual production code being generated by AI on the book, but that is by itself a different conversation. You really need to understand what's being generated from the LLM or by the LLM to really put that thing in production. That's a different
maybe we can do
altogether.
some bonus content as
Yes.
an add-on to the book for those who
be a good idea.
register for the community. And
That'll be nice.
Yeah. Okay.
One more thing before we go,
Yeah.
because I think that's important.
No, I have more questions, but
okay.
Continue.
So the thing that we are going to discuss about the prompt, right? I see and I have read at least one article that talks about that, is changing even the way we do agile, right? Making the deliverables from, let's say, from the product owner, or in a more traditional setting, from the business analyst, to be already in the format of a prompt. So they describe the situation that is that I don't know, a special feature on an API, for example. They describe it, of course, in business terms and whatnot, but as a prompt, in the sense that they tell us in text what is supposed to happen, right? And naming deliverables, and using words like create this in that form, or create such a let's say a feature on an API that will I don't know, sort something in a different way, but verbalizing as if it was talking to someone, giving exact descriptions. So this is actually a possible change as well, not now on how we implement software itself, but the agile process, when the deliverables from one layer to the next are already in the format of a prompt. This is something that I believe will also happen very soon, if not already happening in some places.
Yeah, but actually I can use this as a segue to my question, because I wanted to go back a little bit to integration as such. And I think AI systems actually bring new ways of integration. And one of them is are some libraries that we can use to generate the prompts, or somehow to interact with different LLMs. For example, things like Spring AI or LangChain4j. So can we say that these libraries or frameworks are new parts, new features of integration that we will use more and more?
Oh, I believe so, yes. And this is another challenge for us as engineers, right? We talked about this briefly yesterday. So software, as we write it today, is deterministic, meaning every time we send a specific input, we have always the same output, right? And that's a fundamental aspect of what we do. If you I don't know, if you ask for your balance in your bank account. You don't want to have a different number every time you call. You want to have the actual number, right? So that's kind of obvious, but the addition of AI, Gen AI, Generation AI, I mean generative AI, to the mix adds a level of uncertainty, right? So suddenly the results may not always be deterministic, may not always be the same. So making sure that uncertainty is taken into account is a new skill, right? I don't have the answer. I don't think anybody today has the right answer for those problems, but this is something you have to be aware of, right? So that depends on how you actually integrate AI into your workflow. They may introduce something that you don't want to be there, a level of uncertainty that you were not prepared for or seen for. And by the way, this is probably something that would be caught on well-designed tests, as we mentioned before. So everything kind of ties up together. But yeah, that's a new skill, right? And the libraries that are popping up now, Spring AI and LangChain, they are nice. They have they add a lot of value, but they are a new skill set that we have to build on top of everything that we have already. And yeah, it's learning a new set of tools, a new set of solutions, right? And which,
Yeah.
by the way, is what we do all the time. So we
Okay.
have to just adapt to this new wave.
And one more aspect of integration, actually, what I also learned from your session is so when this trend of mentioning and trying to use generative AI started to rise, we started using it as a public service in some public models.
Oh,
because
yes.
because to train model and even to run it required a huge amount of hardware, specialized hardware, and also almost scientific skills that most companies don't have. And so the only way for a regular developer or a company that's not in this
Not OpenAI.
oligopoly of AI giant, new AI giants, it was to use the public API. So at first I thought, okay, now this is actually what we've been doing all the time, because we always had to integrate some third-party APIs that had different interfaces. In this, here we use a lot of formatted text, so to say,
Right.
but doesn't matter. But what you actually said was that this is changing a little bit, because now there are ways how models can be run locally, and it is very attractive to many companies, especially in regulated industries, because they don't want to allow their information to go into some foreign cloud or third party service. So but again, it's a different, the AI system is a different type of system from the existing systems that will continue being there. So we also need to integrate them, but it will be more like maybe integrating microservices within one company. What's your take
Correct.
on this?
So yeah, actually that's a very good point. So the fact that the first, let's say, wave of generative, okay, I keep saying generative, generative AI is coming from those big players, right? Which is inevitable. So we had ChatGPT. Let's take that as a big example, right? The big player. When you interact with them, you are sending in the prompt, in the question, sometimes very proprietary information, right? Because you are asking for you know, maybe ideas on how to implement a specific piece of software, in our case, that is a proprietary idea, whatever that may be, right? This is something that companies can be very worried about, and they should be, right? Because that prompt, which contains now proprietary ideas and really intellectual property, really, uh, is stored in some log in some, you know, machine at OpenAI. That's definitely something that you don't want, especially because depending on how things happen, that data may end up being used to train the next generation of AI. So suddenly your, you know, IP is everywhere to be found. So you don't want that, right? Most companies don't want that. So the solution would be to run local uh, LLMs, right? Local AI models. And we've been doing this for a while, but for maybe two years or so. But it's very expensive. The hardware was extremely expensive. To build something that would be actually capable of performing well enough to be used by a team of, you know, 6 to 10 developers would cost, I don't know, $100,000, $120,000, and it would be very hard to buy, right? It's not just that, you know, even if you have the money, you can go to NVIDIA or other places and they say, okay, sorry, the waiting list is huge. You have to wait maybe 4 or 5 months before I can deliver anything to you. So, and that was a reality. But suddenly, and suddenly I mean just a few months ago, we got announcements from Apple and from NVIDIA itself that they have this new generation of hardware popping up, right? Machines that are small, with a very nice amount of memory on the Apple side. That's already published, already out there, right? The new Mac Studio, you can get up to half a terabyte, 512 gig of RAM, so you can now suddenly run very big models locally for an affordable price. Even though $10,000 may not sound affordable, that's the price of the studio.
But if you buy just two laptops, yeah, or three,
that's there already, right? So it's a much more affordable solution, and you can run a good size model for actually a great model. I mean, you can run at probably 300 billion parameters there, and you know, be responsive, get good results. Will be as good and as fast as ChatGPT? No, but it will be, you know, more than enough to run your own solutions locally. And it's proprietary in the sense that it's your data, right? It's running on your proprietary network. You can isolate it and protect using all the protocols and policies that you define, that your company defines. So you have that the safety of your own network and the certainty that your data is not being misused in any way, right? But that's great. And it's recent, right? It's just a few months that this happened. NVIDIA is coming up with their own solutions. The used to be called the Project Digits. Now it's NGT, I think, because it's already out. It's not really up for sale, but you can ask to be on the list to buy the first wave of machines that they'll sell. And those are very powerful machines as well, right? And they again will range on the will cost in the range of maybe $3,000 to $10,000-$15,000, which is again very affordable for that type of application. So I believe that this will cause an explosion on this niche of AI solutions for medium and small business, right? That before were completely and departments within large corporations as well. People that before couldn't afford those, right? The teams on those companies may want to do something, but they couldn't. It was just too expensive or too risky. Now it's neither. It's secure because it's local and it's cheaper. And actually, not even cheaper. It's cheap because, as I said, 10 grand for a dev team is nothing. And And this is new. This is happening like right now, which is great, by the way. Give us again, we are in the beginning of a wave of transformation, and being here, being aware of it, can make you a good amount of money in the near future.
So, like every company has a database, maybe soon every company will have their LLM.
I definitely believe so.
Okay. And maybe a last question. There's a new protocol, MCP, that is very, very new. That also, every time I hear protocol, it immediately tells me it's something about integration. So, have you done anything with it? Have you at least studied something about it?
Yes. I look it up. I did a couple of examples, nothing yet in production. But just to clarify, the MCP is a protocol for services that want to integrate with LLMs, right? So the idea is that one LLM system must make a call to something else, to an API, to a database, to something, and that communication now has a protocol, right? So as long as the LLM understands MCP, and the service that's being provided also has an MCP server, which is the way they call the MCP interface, then the communication is done. That's essentially it, right? But what I would like to use as a point in a way is that if you compare the MCP protocol with the HTTP protocol, right? That's something that is everywhere now. The HTTP, from being created in the early, I think it was early 90s, late 80s, to being used extensively in 95, 96, when the internet was kind of born, was like 5-6 years. Then it took another 4 or 5 years to come up with the REST concept, the whole way to use the HTTP protocol on a clear way to build REST APIs. Another 5 years, so if you count like 10 to 11 years to have that the usage of that protocol matured, right? MCP is from what, 7 months ago, was from November of 2024, and we already have meetups, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have already a conference somewhere about it. So the fact that the protocol went from somebody's idea on I think it was inside OpenAI. No, I think it was Anthropic. I can't remember. But from that to actually being talked about everywhere, including JCON, a few months later, it's amazing, because the speed of change, right? The rate of change is increasing immensely. So that's maybe the distinction between this wave and the previous waves, right? Even the cloud took a few years to really make an impact, right? From 2006, when it was starting to pop up here and there. S3, I think it was one of the first services, to until 2013, 2012, when people actually started building systems on the cloud, professional systems. Even that was kind of a 5-year, 6-year cycle. We're now talking about 6-month cycle, right? It's truly impressive, and a little bit scary, because you have to make a decision very quickly about what are you going to invest your time on, your energy on, and that's I don't know, that's new. That's quite
so right
different.
now it's for early adopters, so to say, but it's worth probably watching a little bit
Yeah,
how
it's
it evolves.
for early adopters, yes. However, the early adopter phase, which used to be years, now is like weeks, right? Months at most, and very few months. So we are probably already on the first systems being deployed in production. You can actually see MCP servers, MCP interfaces already published that you can connect to right now and probably pay for. So we went from inception to being, monetized in months. That's
okay.
I think that's unprecedented.
really interested how they if they're sure that they handle their security, for example,
Exactly.
properly.
We didn't even have time to fine tune that thing, and we are already making significant design decisions, deployment decisions in production with that tool. So yeah, that's a very important point too. We don't give it time to mature, but it is the speed of AI apparently. So
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
cannot
okay.
fight it. You just adapt and learn.
Okay, so thank you for the discussion. I think me and also those who will watch it will learn a lot of interesting ideas, and yeah, keep
Thank you, Maya.
doing what
Thanks a
you're
lot.
doing.
All right. Thank you.